Now, in the news, they've dealt with a slew of emotions this year on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show, anxieties of their own and the world, to be quite honest. But thankfully, through it all, they provided a safe space like none other. Let's count down our 2020 Top 5 Talk It Out Tuesday moments with the Rickey Smiley Morning Show's counselor, Yunetta Spring. Rolling in here at number 5, it's time to hit the reset button.
I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to share 3 ways for you to reset your boundaries, right? The first thing is to pay attention to how you feel now and then how you feel after, not how you used to feel, because sometimes I think we can be operating on expired boundaries or an outdated narrative. We can think just because we've always done something a certain way that that's the way it always needs to be done, and that's not, necessarily the case. So we got to be able to look at people, look at places, and look at things that bring us joy, that recharge us, that give us a sense of purpose. And then we also have to be able to look at people, places, and things that burn us out, right? Or that leave us feeling drained and undervalued. And if that's happening, we may need to make some adjustments around those things. The second thing is to make a schedule, right? So when you can't set boundaries with yourself, it makes it really difficult for you to set boundaries with others, okay? So you have to be able to know how to tell yourself no sometimes, right? And number 3 is a way that you can determine if you need to tell somebody no. And it's basically giving yourself time and space, right? So tell people, I'll get back with you on that. Right? And then give them a time frame. Don't be avoidant and just leave people hanging, and ignoring them. Tell people, I'll get back with you on that tomorrow, or I'll get back with you on that next week. Right. Because every request is not an emergency.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, so sometimes
we got to be able to put some time and space between our yeses and our nos.
Coming in at number 4, the show's Gary with the T has a therapy session live on air.
Gary, what brings you in today?
Well, I don't know. I haven't been able to sleep at night. I've been having a lot of racing thoughts. I've been staying up late at night, and I was wondering, what was that about? Because the other day at school, which I'm gonna tell you what happened to me initially at school, it was like I just went. It's not berserk, so to speak, but I was like craving just sweets or whatever. I never forget, I went in the cafeteria and I was craving some sweets, so I was just trying to, eat all the cinnamon rolls in the damn cafeteria. So eventually they called my dad and had my dad come to pick me up from school. My dad was wondering, he asked me, was I on drugs or anything like that, because, I had never done nothing like that before. So they took me to the doctor. And it's funny though, Yunetta, because one people got to realize bipolar could be diagnosed with like anything, because they thought I had hypoglycemia. That's what the doctor initially said, because, I guess from the way I was acting and the blood sugar and all, they thought, that's what was going on and blah, blah, blah. So nevertheless, and my dad asked me, was I on drugs and whatever, and I'm like, no, I'm not on drugs. So, but they diagnosed hypoglycemia. So it went from hypoglycemia to my mama getting up in the morning, making me breakfast every morning before I went to school and what have you and stuff. And it faded away, And then about maybe less than a year later, I had moved to Houston, and I had another episode, where my friends found me wrapped up in a blanket in the corner, because they hadn't heard from me in a couple of days, and they found me wrapped up in a blanket. So initially they brought me to the hospital here. When I woke up in the hospital, I was on the psych floor.
How
old was you when that happened? I was like 20. And then
20 when that happened.
Yeah. And then so I stayed in the hospital like for about a week or so, and then my parents came, got me out, and I went, the doctor, told them some things, honey, and this was diagnosed as bipolar. So I did that for a while, and I went good for a while, and then I moved to Dallas, and it happened again.
Wow. Okay.
But nevertheless,
for you.
Pardon?
Has been going on for a while. I said, it sounds like this journey it's been a lot of up and downs. It's been going on for a while.
It's been going on for a while.
Younger, with the eating, and now all the way up until now, it sounds like now you're having racing thoughts and having a hard time sleeping.
Yeah, well, now I'm not really, I just have stuff. But right now it's amazing that I could control it because I've been through it so long. Because, initially when when they gave me the different medicines, I was on Cogentin, Escalate, and Narvane. I was walking down the street like a zombie.
Wow.
You know, and my neighbors told my parents, y'all need to take him to another hospital. So they took me to another hospital. At least I took myself. I went to MHMR, mental health, mental retardation. And I went there and I, told the doctor, nevertheless, they changed the medicine. They put me on lithium. And I've been on lithium now for like 30 years.
Here at number 3, it's time we cease the shitty thinking.
Shitty thinking.
Oh,
okay?
shouldy.
You gotta,
Okay, yeah.
Because it sounds like something else, but we're not cussing. Yeah.
Shouldy thinking. Shouldy thinking. And what do you mean by that?
So shitty thinking, I know we all have experienced that person that's telling somebody you should do this or you should be doing that. Or sometimes we have been that person towards others, or we could be that person to ourselves. So I wanted to highlight shitty thinking because it really can be harmful in the way of increasing our depression, our anxiety, feelings of anger, disappointment, and guilt, especially around the holiday season. Having that expectation that things should be a certain way or things shouldn't be the way that they are. So I wanted to kind of highlight that because I'm pretty sure y'all have had that experience when you have shitted on yourself or other people.
The Rickey Smiley Morning Show's The Brat shares how therapy helps. It's number 2.
No, I'm not the therapist, but when I did go to therapy, after I got in trouble, it helps because you internalize everything and everything builds up. And at some point, you have to release that stuff because if you don't, it will come out at the wrong time and you will end up in trouble or possibly in prison like I did. Like I dealt with the death of my 2 grandmothers. All kinds of stuff was going on. My mom was sick and just life's issues. And before I knew it, I ended up in prison because I had never talked to anybody because, like you said, it's not cool to go tell people your problems, what happened in this house, stay in this house, and it just builds up and internalizes, and you reach a boiling point, and it comes out at the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately.
And landing in at number 1, how to detach from toxic people and situations.
These are some things to look for to just determine if this is a toxic situation or something I need to leave in last year. And that is, like, if you are in a situation where you feel like you constantly have to fix a problem.
Right.
Where you're compromising your values, your morals, you have to cover things up, you have to hide stuff or lie for people. If you feel like you're drained after you're around that person, you ever have a situation or a person where whenever you're in their space, you feel drained or you dread being around them, that could be a toxic situation. Really paying attention to your mood, right? So if you're with them or after you leave them, you're feeling sad, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling angry or irritable, really paying attention to that. And then situations that are just chaotic and dramatic, where it's rooted in gossip or judgment. Those are the type of situations that, we would consider to be toxic. One thing to look for that a lot of people don't look for is those situations, those people or places or things where we feel like we have to prove ourselves or we have to impress others, or you go out of your way to be accepted. That can get you in a compromising state. So being aware of those. And ultimately, people who don't respect your no, because we know boundaries are so important. If they don't respect your no, it could be a toxic situation.
Absolutely.
Right.
For these Talk It Out Tuesday moments and more, subscribe to Rickey Smiley's YouTube at Rickey Smiley Official. For now, the news desk, I'm Toine the Don with Toine 360's breaking news.